Greetings, brothers and sisters. I'm Professor Spira, and in this video series, we will be talking about Professor Arnold Ehret's approach to fasting. We will be covering lessons 18, 19, and 20 of the Mucusless Diet Healing System, and much of this information will correspond with information in Arnold Ehret's Rational Fasting. And the content of this presentation is strictly for informational and educational purposes only. If you choose to use any of this information on yourself, you do so at your own volition. And this is not medical advice, medical diagnosis, or treatment of any kind of diseases. This is intended to be, as I said before, for educational purposes only. So, fasting. What is fasting? What's the deal with it? So fasting is often very misunderstood, and one of the first things people often bring up is, well, aren't you starving yourself? What do you get out of just starving yourself? You got to eat, right? You have to eat something. And according to Professor Arnold Ehret's approach to human physiology that he talks about a little earlier in the Mucusless Diet book, this new concept of nutrition and this idea of getting energy and things from nutrition is problematic. And we talk about that a little bit more in detail in other places. And if you want to see more on that, check out the lessons dealing with the new physiology. But fasting in itself is a process by which you restrict food and drink, and there's different levels of fasting. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But basically, you allow your body the opportunity to cleanse itself and subsequently heal itself. And one thing to think about is when you get sick, and we don't even like the word sick, but you get sick, or you got a runny nose, you're coughing, or you just don't feel well, oftentimes you will lack appetite, or at least in my case I did, and most people say, well, yeah, you're sick, I don't really feel like eating anything. The conventional wisdom is, well, you got to force yourself. You got to get some nutrition in you. You got to eat something. But you're basically trying to block out the natural inclination that you have to fast, to stop eating. And as we look at many animals, in undomesticated animals, they will fast when they are sick, or they break a leg or something or whatever. They go off to themselves. They don't eat or drink anything, and then once they're healed, they go back and rejoin their brethren. So fasting at once eliminates the primary obstructions of wrong and too much eating. So the foundation of the Mucusless Diet Healing System is the idea that mucus-forming foods are unnatural and leave behind this slimy, sludgy, nasty waste in the system. And some of this waste is eliminated when people have a bowel movement, but the problem is we're so constipated that it has become normality. Constipation has become normality. It's just totally normal for somebody to have 15 pounds of uneliminated fecal matter in their bowels. And wherever there's this level of bowel constipation, there's a lot of this sludge that's in the intestine that you probably never see unless you've done a cleanse. People that have fasted and done the enemas and that kind of thing, they start to see this slime come out of them that just otherwise would be sitting up there. Now, when you start a fast, you may feel good in the beginning, and a lot of people, they do an improved diet, or they start to eat more fruit, or they start to fast a little bit, and they feel a lot better, and they think, wow, well, this is wonderful. But as the elimination goes deeper, you start to loosen more waste, and oftentimes you feel worse. And people will want to blame the lack of food, or they'll want to blame fruit on not feeling good. when coming from this perspective and from the experiences of many, many others that have used fasting as a means to heal themselves, find that it's not the lack of food, but it's the obstructions and the waste and the toxemias that are inside the body that are to blame for this not feeling good. When you kind of shift in between, feeling good, and then you go through days where you're have eliminated a lot of waste, or let a lot of waste into your system, and now you're not feeling as good. And to keep in mind, if you can deal with the concept that pus and mucus forming foods are unnatural, then you have to deal with the reality that all of those wastes that have been uneliminated, and many of which have been incorporated into your tissue system, they have to be eliminated. And this is the way, and really the only way that I know of, that you can dig deep into the body to eliminate these wastes. And sometimes it's not going to be a walk in the park. One thing that'll let you know that you are starting to eliminate some waste and do some good is you'll notice that your urine might start getting cloudy. Now, that's a very good thing. You want your kidneys to be filtering this acidic waste out of the body. If it's not, when you're fasting and you notice that your kidneys aren't filtering properly, then that's something that you're going to want to address, and we'll talk more about that a little later on. An unnatural overpressure. The functioning of most people's organism is continually obstructed by an unnatural overpressure of the blood and on the tissues, or obstruction. So there's just this obstruction in the body that is not supposed to be there. It's all throughout the tissue system, stagnant. And we talk about the lymphatic system oftentimes, and how the lymphatic system is supposed to help eliminate the cellular waste. But in many of us, I'd almost dare say most of us, our lymph systems are stagnant and it's not moving properly. And that's where Mucusless diet in combination with fasting can serve to get this lymph system moving again, and to correct this problem of overpressure. As soon as you stop eating, this overpressure is relieved. The avenues of circulation contract, and the blood becomes more concentrated, and the superfluous water is eliminated. And this is something I've experienced many times. Anytime I start a fast, and if the fast goes for longer than just several days, then I really notice that the first thing that eliminates is this water, this kind of buildup of unnecessary water in the system. And I can feel my blood start to circulate better. So fasting is first a negative proposition to relieve the body from direct obstructions of solid and mostly unnatural foods. And secondly, it is a mechanical process of elimination by contracting the tissues and pressing out this mucus. And this is a very important thing to understand, is this contracting process. It's like squeezing out this mucus, as if you were to squeeze out toothpaste out of a tube, or squeeze out some sticky glue out of a container. It's contracting the tissues and squeezing and pressing out this mucus, and this causes friction as the obstruction starts to enter the circulation. Now, it's important to understand that the human mechanism cleanses itself. A lot of people want to rely on these other elements for cleansing, but the concept that we want to get across here is that the body is what heals itself. The body is what cleanses itself. What you do is basically get out of the way. And there are things that can be used depending on how you use them, and whether it's the herbs and enemas and these other things. But at the end of the day, it's about getting out of the way of the body and letting the body do what it's supposed to do. And if you drink only water during a fast, the human mechanism cleanses itself the same as though you would press out a dirty, watery sponge. But the dirt in this instance is sticky mucus, pus, and drugs. And this waste must be dissolved so that it can be eliminated and filtered through the kidneys. And goes back to where we're talking about the cloudy urine that we want to see come out, that lets us know that our kidneys are filtering properly. And we will talk more, especially in the next lesson, we will talk more about the sort of the details of fasting. And so there's more to it than just only drinking water. Ehret also talks about juice fasting. He also talks about fruit dieting. So we will try to put some of that into context in the next lesson. So a quick review. Why do humans and animals lose their appetite when sick? I'm just going to read these, and I will let you answer these. Why don't you answer these in the comment section? That'd be kind of cool. Why do people blame weakness on the lack of food? Why is that? Why does a faster's urine often turn cloudy? Fasting is a mechanical process whereby the tissue system contracts and presses out waste. Is this true or false, according to Professor Arnold Ehret? And finally, why is fasting initially a so-called negative proposition? A negative proposition. So, I want to thank you for checking out this first video in a series of 3 where we will be talking specifically about Professor Arnold Ehret's approach to fasting. And the next video is very important. It will be the one where we really get into the nuts and bolts of what you do, the step-by-step process of fasting according to Professor Arnold Ehret. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace, love, and breath.
Now, I don't mean to gross you out, but what if I told you that you are eating foods that create nasty slime in the body? Certain foods that you eat on a daily basis can actually cause the slime to accumulate and make it harder for your cells to breathe. These foods are making you age faster and are tearing your body apart from the inside out. These wrong foods are leaving behind residues of nasty waste that are slowly but surely shortening your lifespan, lowering your quality of life, and destroying your vitality. The good news is, this waste can be eliminated naturally. Discover the simplest and most powerful natural lifestyle secret that has improved the lives of thousands. Introducing Professor Arnold Ehret's Mucusless Diet Healing System, annotated, revised, and edited by Professor Spira. You will learn how to naturally get rid of that annoying stuffy nose, soothe your terrible cough, melt away unwanted body fat, prevent dangerous health issues, and heal yourself of painful illnesses. If you care about your health, this is the most important book you will ever read. Visit www.mucusfreelife.com/revise-mucusless-diet to get your copy right now while supplies last.